Oh, it is me. We do not have live 2D today because I forgot to charge my phone, but that's okay. You can just see a little pretty picture of my face in the corner. Are you ready for salvation? Because I am. I honestly don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think the salvation ends are going to be very long. So I think after, depending on how long it takes, we might switch over to Suikoden. Or switch straight over to Olympia Soiree. My eyes are sore. It really depends. But we are starting with Mathis. We're going in the same order. So we're going with Mathis. Then we'll do Lucas. Then we'll do Shien, and then we'll do Eve. So I'm looking for the load save file too. Yes.
ていうか、もっと泣きわめいて嫌がるかと思ってたよ。
And here. Apparently, we get the salvation in after saying I don't have a reason to cry. No, yeah, I actually might.
ていうか、もっと泣きわめいて
I'm gonna read it
嫌がる
out
かと思ってたよ。
just so that we have the full story rather than skip to the new stuff. I don't have a reason to cry. After all, I already made my decision that I would stay by his side no matter what.
ふん。そういうのってダメな男を助長させると思うけど。
I'm just gonna make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, I do need to double check something first. so yeah, I have done all the endings. Yeah, because we had to do... Okay, sweet. As long as he tells me that he loves me before he goes, I can love Mathis no matter what his personality. Yeah, I had Minecraft ambience on in the background. I assume you want to capture our despair on that camera of yours. Too bad.
その強がりもいつまで持つかな。んじゃ、次のマティスがどんな人間か夜明けを楽しみにしててくれよ。
After Camille left, with my whole body aching from pain, I brushed away Mathis's hair from his cheek. He looked so at peace that it was hard to believe what he did earlier. Thank you for doing your best like you promised. I was very happy to hear your rough side tell me that you love me. I gently kissed him on the eyelids to thank him before going to sleep by his side. Self-protection. This person. This man was a despicable coward. The woman Camille dragged here screamed as she was slaughtered. Holding her down and splitting her belly open with a huge knife was not the deliverer Camille, but rather...
お望み通りの処置を行いました。こんな具合でいかがでしょうか、神優様。
Mathis was trying to get on Camille's good side. The memory he possessed was from a merchant in Chadis who lived in the shadows of those stronger than him. He willfully deceived and abused others for his own sake and flattered those in power. He stole money from many people to donate to the Institute. I wanted to save the woman, but Camille had me bound in rope, preventing me from moving. All I could do was watch the woman die as Mathis looked up with a surah smile towards Camille.
なんだ、娼婦なんか殺したところで誰も惜しみやしないだろう。私は仕方なく強者に従っただけ。そうだ、私は何も悪くない。
There's a vial in the cabinet over there. It's not medicine, but it's a special concoction that can make you feel better. If you feel like vomiting, drinking that will help settle your stomach. Once Camille takes me out of these ropes, I'll have the body taken care of.
なんで責めない。お前は私が自分の命かわいさに何をしたのか目の前で見てたんだろ。
Yes, I saw what you did. But I also saw you frowning to the point of tears. You kept your eyes on the woman that you killed to the very end.
「まさかずっと小賢しい卑怯者だと罵られ続けてきた私があんな些細な一言で恋に落ちるとは思わなかった。せいぜいあいつの機嫌を損ねて殺されないよう気をつけろ。
I understand. And with that, he fell asleep with a different expression than before.
今回も実験成功。けどあんたも大概 我慢強いね。俺、あんな自分本位な奴が身近にいたら、出会って数秒で殴る自信があるわ。
If he irritated you so much, you shouldn't have downloaded his memory. Things would be fine. No matter what anyone said about me, the results wouldn't change. Strict, gloomy, contemptuous. A variety of personalities and memories were downloaded into his brain. Some ended up harming me for no real reason. Regardless, each night before he went to sleep, he said,
不思議だね。出会ったばかりの苦しいまでに愛してる。
and each time I sent him off with a smile. The experiments continued to lead to successful results, but for some reason, Camille seemed irritated with each passing experiment. Things were moving along well as they could have. I was happy to know that my reunion with Rosalie would happen sooner than expected. That said, I was so damn irritated seeing the two of them together. I'd been reluctant to take pictures of them, instead throwing the camera down to the sofa pretty much every day. How many days had passed since I last took photographs of them confessing their love each night? They were whispering their love to each other every day while I was still longing for Rosalie. Was that why I was irritated? No, that was close, but not quite it.
なんであの女は心まで変わり果てたマティスに失望しないんだよ。
I didn't know why. I didn't even want to think about it. Dawn broke and hours passed. At night came again. Nothing unusual about time, but I wasn't sure how many days had passed by now.
喜べよ。これが最後の実験だ。
As usual, Camille came into his laboratory to download a new memory into Mathis. I somehow got up as Mathis continued to sleep. I hardly slept all night because he kept kicking me in the back. The many love stories I'd played out with Mathis were taking their toll. My body ached and I was tired beyond belief. Which was probably why Camille could tell that I was at my limit. Still. Wait. What do you mean by last? I thought you needed to continue downloading memories into Mathis to keep him alive.
おいおい、忘れてもらっちゃ困る。マティスはあくまで実験体なんだぜ。必要な成果が得られたら用済みに決まってるだろう。二人が毎日毎日愛を育んでくれるおかげで人工的な記憶から確実に恋愛感情を引き出せることが判明した。だからこれ以上実験を行う必要はない。
But that's not right. He did say he would continue to download memories, but he didn't say he would continue to do it forever. Why hadn't I thought about this possibility? I was probably turning my eyes away from the horrible thought all this time. Or perhaps I had hoped deep down that he would keep his word. What a fool I was. Still, if I didn't do something, Mathis would really disappear. I couldn't let that happen, ever. Please, Please don't let Mathis die. I don't care about what he might become as long as he's by my side. I was so useless. The only thing I could do was bow my head with the desperate hope he would listen. I somehow held back tears by how pathetic I was. Camille's eyes narrowed a bit as if something I said caught his attention.
どんな彼でもかいいね。最後の実験にふさわしい素晴らしい覚悟の表れだ。
Camille gave an airy smile, then turned on the switch to the device that connected to Mathis. I hadn't heard him scream like this before. Mathis! I rushed towards him and tried to remove his shackles, to no avail.
大丈夫。心配しなくてもすぐ終わるって。
He continued.
今までとは比べ物にならないくらい複雑で重い記憶をダウンロードしてるから。マティスの脳にかかる負荷は相当なものになってる。せいぜい目覚める前に死なないよう手でも握ってやっててくれ。
Camille glanced at me for a moment. He then let out a heavy sigh. Then, he moved away from Mathis and looked at me more fully. His expression of ridicule and a casual manner of speech disappeared as he looked at me seriously.
それじゃあ、俺と最後の実験と行こうか。愛に一途な死神さん。今ダウンロードしているのは、女性を痛めつける快楽に目覚め、目的もなく何人もの女性を事故に見せかけ殺害してきた。殺人鬼と名乗ることすらおこがましい。俺から見ても愚か極まりないクズの中のクズの記憶。深い愛と真逆の位置にある感情を持ってしまった記憶を乗り越え、再度あんたに恋することができたなら、マティスは実験体として最高の結果を出したことになる。人工的な記憶を持ってなお愛を失わないホムンクルス。俺を愛するロザリーを蘇らせるための研究の完成だ。
He was completely mad. Once again, I was reminded of this. He spoke of inhumane things as though they were nothing. He was more mad than a murderer. The device stopped and Mathis gave a small groan.
恋人同士で過ごす最後の夜だ。邪魔者はここで退散するかね。せいぜい死なないように頑張れよ。もし最後まで生き延びることができたら、実験成功のお祝いとしてマティスのホムンクルスをもう一体送ってやるからさ。
Camille recovered the tubes connected to Mathis and then left the lab. With him gone, I quickly crouched next to Mathis to touch him gently. He downloaded the memories of a killer, which meant the personality that was inside him would be the worst so far. It also meant I could only imagine what would happen to Mathis, what happened when Mathis woke up. Would he still be the Mathis I knew? I heard him scream many times, but I couldn't get the most recent one out of my mind. Perhaps this time he finally lost any memory he had of me. Just as that thought came to mind, his sleepy eyes caught sight of me. But Mathis's expression remained vague. He was staring at me in a daze. Mathis? I spoke his name, wondering if his mind was elsewhere. The next moment I was slammed onto the floor. It took some time for me to realize that he had punched me. His voice was filled with an excited madness. I tried my best to escape, but it was too late. Pain surged through my right leg. He had picked up a nearby knife and drove it into my leg, cutting a tendon. By the time my brain recognized the pain as reality, I was unable to move my leg.
落ち着く。やっぱり痛みに慣れてない純粋な人間の女性はいい声で泣いてくれるな。でもまだまだ物足りない。
My agonized cry rang loud as he stepped on my injured leg. He then played with the knife in his hand before stabbing me multiple times all over. Red blood spurted out of my skin. I could feel my consciousness slowly starting to fade.
すごい声。リライバーになれば体の傷はすべて消えるんだし、そんな大げさに怯えなくても。
I screamed and struggled, dragging myself across the floor with shaking arms. I tried to get myself to the door, but seeing me pathetically crawl away.
逃げるの？いいよ。俺、逃げ惑う相手を追い詰めて殺すのも好きだしね。
I somehow dragged myself towards the exit, my bloody leg leaving a trail behind me. The ruthless man knew he was in control. I turned around to see him walking towards me slowly with a malevolent smile. I didn't see Mathis in his eyes. I continued my best to escape him as he gripped the knife in his hand. I needed to get away. I needed to run. I couldn't run. My face, my arms, my legs, my shoulders. Wounds all over my body released streams of blood that soaked me through. My vision was starting to blur.
捕まえた。いいね。最高の顔だ。さあ、もっと苦しめ。死ぬまでに一つでも多く俺を満足させる悲鳴をあげるんだ。ざまあみろ。自業自得だ。お前らみたいなまっとうなリライバーの女どもがリライバーの娼婦だった俺の母さんを浄化なんて言いながら焼き殺したから。
He grabbed my neck and slowly dug his thumbs into my veins. At this rate, he would strangle me to death before finishing me off with his knife. The pressure on my veins throbbed with pain, as did my brain. My consciousness plummeted to the depths of darkness. The man shouting slowly moved away from me. I can't die now. I don't want to die. I tried to resist death. I haven't heard from Mathis. I haven't heard his words of love yet. He made me promise. I trusted that he would say he loved me no matter what happened. I forced open my eyes using the strength of my emotions. He probably thought I was going to give up and die. Our eyes met by coincidence. A teardrop rolled down my cheek from above. The warm teardrop ran down my cheek and blended with the blood below. Huh?
そこにいるの。一瞬だけ夢に出てきた。
I called his name with all my might as he continued to cry. You may not see me, but can you feel me? I'm holding your hand. So it's your turn. It's your turn to do your best like we promised. He heard my strained voice. The man above me nodded as the person I loved. He didn't need to regain his sanity, because each and every time Mathis awoke,
してる。愛してるから。死んでくれ。このまま僕はあなたの見えない世界で生きていたくない。
just as we promised, he would do what he could to express his love through his given personality. Yes. Yes. I'll gladly die for you. Say, Mathis, have you noticed? Each time you were born, I could recognize a part of you that never disappeared. I always sensed a little of that kindness of yours I fell in love with. I felt so much pain in our time together, but not once had I fallen into despair. Oh, thank you for the stretch. I shall stretch. Ugh. Thank you. I don't know why the frickin' thing didn't go off. Thank you. Why did my sound alerts not go off? Sound alerts. Do I just need to log in? Probably. Thank you. We are currently going through the hopefully Salvation End. We're just reading through. I've already made the choice to get to the Salvation End. We're just reading through. It's okay. My posture isn't that bad when I stream. Maybe. Rather than the sharpness of the blade he pointed at me, my eyes wouldn't move from the tear-stained face of my beloved. I could hear the blade run through flesh, but I didn't feel pain anywhere in my body. Have we finally hit it? There we go. Here's the point where we... Here's the new change. It's okay, you'll just have to trust my word. I slowly opened my eyes to see where the sound had come from. Blood was raining down from above. It was warm with the smell of iron. Blood was pouring out of Mathis's chest. Huh? His beautiful tear-stained face was twisted in pain. He pulled out the knife he stabbed into his chest without any hesitation. I looked on in a stupor, not knowing what happened, but... So he stabs himself then in the Salvation End. The thick smell of iron was suffocating. I quickly came to my senses, seeing Mathis spit out blood as he held his chest. Mathis? Blood? We need to stop the bleeding. I tore apart some of his clothes to cover the wound, but blood kept pouring out. The fabric quickly turned red.
心臓から少しずれた位置に刺しましたから、見た目ほど傷は深くないはず。それに僕よりもあなたの方がよほどひどい怪我をしてるじゃないですか。
I was wounded all over as I tried to escape from him all throughout the night. The sight of me covered in bruises, cuts, and blood brought Mathis to the verge of tears. Most of my bleeding was from...
セレさん、これ右足の剣。まさか僕のせいで二度と歩くことができなく。
It's all right. It hurt at first, but I was prepared for anything. See? Look carefully. It's not as bad as it seems. I think it's just torn. I know what you did. I know you did what you could to try and save me, Mathis.
でも僕があなたを傷つけたことには変わりません。たくさん痛い思いをさせてごめんなさい。
I poked Mathis's cheek with my finger, still covered in blood.
いや、何を
I kept poking him on the cheek. I did over and over again in this horrifying laboratory.
シャレさん、いきなり何を
You finally came back and you're still trying to apologize. Isn't there something else you have to tell me? I love you.
ただいま、セレス。僕の大切な死神さん。
Welcome back, Mathis. Mathis.
はい。
Mathis. Mathis.
はい。
You really are Mathis, aren't you?
うん。そうだよ。あなたが好きになってくれた僕は、ちゃんとここにいる。心配かけて、ごめんなさい。
You're apologizing again. He hugged me gently and I wrapped my arms around his back, as tightly as I could. I kept repeating his name as I took in his warmth. Before long, the pain etched into my body disappeared completely.
急いで屋敷を出ましょう。きっともうすぐジャンが様子を見に来ます。今の僕たちはろくに抵抗もできませんから、その前にここを脱出しないと。ありえない。
Oh shit. Camille had run into the room and quickly went pale upon seeing Mathis.
殺人犯が愛を語っているようには見えないな。ならお前は誰だ。誰。それはあなたが聞くんですか。
Mathis looked right into Camille's eyes as he endured the pain.
僕はマティス。哀れな名門の子供でも敵討ちを望む弟でもない。素敵な死神を愛することでやっと自分でオリジナルになれた。マティス・クロードだ。
That was a bit ominous. Camille's eyes widened with disbelief as he slowly walked toward Mathis.
そんな冒険探みたいな奇跡や救い、この実験にはいらないんだよ。
Well, fuck you. You don't get what you want, bitch.
作り上げた偽の記憶を事故とした状態で恋愛感情を持たなきゃ意味がないんだ。これじゃロザリーを蘇らせても。
Then die and join her in death, cockwad.
彼女は自
I hate
分
you
を
so
ロザリ
much.
ーだと認識できず、
I can't believe your punishment and the happy ending of fucking La Salua's
他の男を愛せる
fatherhood.
可能性。
dick. It's just reminding me how much I fucking hate Jean. I hate you so much. The image of that must have flashed in his mind. His breathing was getting heavier by the second.
ああ、あと少しで俺の愛するロザリーが、俺を愛するロザリーが、あの頃の記憶と感情で蘇るはずだったのに。
I wondered why. The man in front of us treated me cruelly over and over again, but the sight of him clinging to the tank with his lost love inside was terribly sad. I don't give a shit. He can cry a river for all I fucking care.
構築した記憶データの中に破損していたものがああ、そうだ。何もこれで全てが終わったわけじゃない。すぐにでも協力者たちとこの出来損ないの代わりになる実験体を。カミーユ。
Mathis calmly tried to reason with him.
もう無理だよ。本当はあなただってうっすら気づいてるんでしょ。
Mathis was a homunculus created by Camille. Camille's only success, which took strenuous efforts and time and energy to create. If the tragedy he experienced had been in another country, he would have years, if not decades. He could have continued his research to resurrect his lost love. But this country was Arpachel, a land possessed by death. Camille had vowed not to become a reliver, in order to show his true love for Rosalie. What that meant is that he didn't have enough time to redo his research. It was as if the relationship between Jean and Mathis, who used to be depressed and prone to mad outbursts, had been reversed. Camille, in a near-complete frenzy, suddenly started punching the tank with Rosalie inside. Of course, no amount of force would wake her from death.
黙れふざけるなよ。お前みたいな出来損ないのホムンクルスがロザリーを差し置いて唯一の愛と自我を得るなんて、そんな敗北認めてたまるか。まだ間に合う。彼女のためなら俺だって奇跡を起こせるはずなんだ。
Seeing Camille scream madly.
ねえ、カミーユ、その奇跡って本当に必要なの？
Mathis quietly posed his question to him as he looked at Rosalie sleeping in peace.
なんだと？どうして僕のような自我がロザリーさん、いえ、ロザリーに芽生えることが許せないの？そんなの。うん。カミーユのことを愛さない可能性が高いからだよね。
Because of all he's done, right?
でもそれって言い方を変えれば、自分を愛してくれないロザリーを自分もまた愛せない。 命としての存在価値がないって断じてるも同然じゃないの。それってすごく悲しい考え方だと思うんだ。
Camille's body shook at the question, and Mathis continued speaking without mercy.
あなたは幸せだった頃の望むままのロザリーしか認められないようだけど、彼女にとってカミーユとの日々だけが人生の全てだったわけじゃない。カミーユと出会う前のまだ誰も愛していない彼女だって確か。あなたはその当時のロザリーを愛せないの？
そんなへりくつ。
へりくつなんかじゃないよ。あなたはどう考えても間違ってる。
As if trying to make his point, despite my being covered in blood and sweat, Mathis tugged me close to him. Mathis?
セレスさんが僕に言ってくれたように、愛するなら全てのロザリーを愛してあげてよ。今のカミーユは過去にすがりついてばっかりで、そこに眠るロザリーのことをまるで見ていない。新しい彼女に恋をする自信がなかっただけだ。さっきだって培養機を思いっきり殴ったりして。
Inside the cold, wet flower garden. Perhaps it was from the slamming earlier. The woman's white, bloodless lips seemingly frowned with sorrow.
バカな、そんなことがあってたまるか。俺の命はロザリーのためにある。お前に言われなくてもここにいる彼女のことだっていつも思って。
だったら今すぐそこからロザリーを取り出し、愛していると告げてみろ。口づけをしてみせろ。感情も返事もないのを全て覚悟の上で。できないでしょ。
Ah, I see. You're so used to You're so used to using others as tools for yourself that you can't love the real Rosalie anymore. You can only ever see her as an unfinished version of herself.
僕の記憶の中に残る昔のカミーユだったら、迷わずそこにいる彼女に愛も口づけも捧げることができたはずなのに。
What made him change so much to make him like this? Mathis didn't have the strength left in him to ask that question. Camille suddenly looked up at the tank next to him. Inside was Rosalie, sound asleep, no different from before. Though there was part of me that felt like she looked much sadder than yesterday. Camille seemed to notice the same thing. He quickly cradled and shook his head as if to deny what he was seeing.
違う。俺はロザリーを道具だなんて思っていない。俺はただ男の子かな、女の子かな、名前はどうしようか。楽しみだな。
せっかちね。私は無事に生まれてくれるならどっちでもいいわ。
でもさ、リライバーにならない俺たちは数年後にはこの子を残して死ぬだろ。親父たちがいるとはいえ、きっと寂しい思いをさせるだろうな。
なら 来世で生まれ変わってまた夫婦になって、そして大人になったこの子に一緒に会いに行きましょうよ。あなたがどんな姿になってもきっと見つけてみせる。私、あなたとなら何度だって
Hello, yes.
恋に落ちられる自信があるわ。
We're on Mathis's happy end. What? You haven't missed much. Basically, it got to the point where I'm not sure if you remember, Mathis is about to kill us. But instead of stabbing us, he stabs himself. And that shocks Camille because Mathis completely breaks free of his brainwashing. And now we're confronting John / Camille.
そんなの俺だって。あの笑顔をもう一度見たかっただけなんだ。記憶と思いがあの頃のまま通じてなければ、生まれるはずだった子供の名前を一緒に考えることもできない。
He clung to the glass casket where Rosalie slept.
卑怯でも残酷でも好きに言えよ。どう言われたって構わない。だってどうしようもないじゃないか。いくらでも残酷になれるほどあいつらのことを愛しているんだから。
It just reminded me how much I hate him. Like, he may have had character development and character growth in Anku and Adolfo's routes, but that doesn't exist here, so I feel perfectly valid in hating him still. No matter his excuse, he was still a criminal. He had killed countless people with the promise of delivering them to a better place, only to deliver them to their deaths instead. Punishment for what he had done was unavoidable, but perhaps in some way, he might reach some kind of salvation as well.
カミーユ、あなたは取り返しのつかないことをした。でもまだやり直せる。だってあなたはまだ生きているんだから。罪を償って、僕の中に残る記憶と協力して、ロザリーさんたちがいた証をこの国に残そうよ。小説でも絵本でも写真でも何でもいいから、僕たち二人が揃っていれば彼女が生きた記憶をすべて拾い上げられるはず。
Then he extended his hand to his brother.
マティス。
He looked back and forth between his younger brother's face and the hand offered to him. He hesitated for a moment before coming to a decision, then reached out to accept it. Suddenly, the sound of an explosion rocked the lab.
爆発。それもこの地下室のさらに下で。
Oh, the underground tunnels? Wait, what does that mean? Oh, yeah. I feel like Dahut's like, excuse you, bitch? No thank you. I'm gonna blow you up. A huge crack appeared below the equipment and the entire place began to crumble. Ah! Mathis held me in his arms, shielding me from the debris falling from the ceiling. Where's Camille? Oh, did he get crushed? Did he get squished? The person with whom we were finally able to discuss a new future together with was...
ああ、 俺ってば相変わらず運がねえの。
He got squished. Through a small opening we could see that we were separated by a wall of rubble that had formed between us.
カミー
Where did the explosion come from?
多分俺の
Yeah.
協力者たちの仕業だ。
Dahut's watching in like, I don't think so. I'm gonna blow you up. Huh?
この研究室のさらに下には連中との取引やデータの受け渡しに使ってた隠し通路があるんだよ。俺が捕まったら連中も巻き添えだからな。要は口封じのためだろ。
だったらなおさら早く出なくちゃ。
Mathis tried to get his hand through the small opening of the wall of rubble, but was unable to shift it.
セレス、そこにいるのか。
Adolpha!
あそこだよ、アドルフ。あの亀裂の下から声が聞こえた。
My heroes. Adolpha! And Eve? From a distance, I could hear their voices approaching. It seemed they would arrive at any moment.
何してるんだカミーユ。あなたも早くこっちへ。
The others should be here soon. I'm sure we can save you once they get here. So don't give up.
バーカ。俺が行くわけないだろ。
Huh?
ここで俺が逃げたら動けないロザリーが一人ぼっちで死んじまうだろ。
Watch out! The ceiling shook with force that came crashing towards Mathis. I reached out to grab Mathis's arm and someone pulled him toward me in time. Even more rubble fell from above us. The wall of debris was thicker now, and we could barely even see Camille.
早くお願いだから一緒に逃げよう。カミーユ兄さん。
But
うるさいな。とっとと行けよ。出来損ない。
he refused our pleas for him to
お
escape.
前は俺の弟じゃないって何度も言ったよな。お前だって俺の正体を知ってからは呼び捨てにしてたくせに、今さら弟ずらして一緒に逃げようだなんて都合が良すぎるんだよ。化け物同士仲良く死神と早く失せな。
I couldn't see Camille's expression from where I was. All I could do was bite down on my lip as he said such heartless words.
確かに僕はあなたの本当の弟じゃない。でもマティスとジャンとして共に過ごしたあの日々は僕は間違いなく兄弟としての思い出だったって思ってる。
Brothers. The time they spent together and the words they exchanged brought back the memories of their peaceful days together. While their relationship may have been based on an illusion, was every moment really a lie? On some level, it had to be real.
俺は一度もそんなこと思ったことなんてない。
I still couldn't see Camille's expression, but the voice I could hear was gentle and caring.
早く行けって。このままだと愛しい死神まで巻き込むことになる。
Hi, Ryan. What's up?
でも
くどい。いつまでも俺に甘えるな、マティス・クロード。お前が今守るべきなのはこれから共に未来を歩む生涯の伴侶だろうが。
Yum. I'm hungry.
違うか。俺みたいな亡霊の方が大事なんて言い出したら、どんな手段を使っても殺すぞ。
Mathis held his breath upon hearing Camille's yelling. He held back the pain he was feeling and then took a few seconds to calm
行
himself.
きましょうセレスさん。僕が体を支えます。
Are you sure?
兄さんの言うことは正しいですから。それに最後ぐらいは兄さんとジャンのこと困らせたくないかなって。
Finally, the laboratory released its final scream. The ceiling, the walls, the floor, everything inside, began to collapse in an attempt to crush those who remained. Before we left, Mathis turned around and said,
ありがとう兄さん。僕をこの世界に産んでくれて、彼女に出会わせてくれてありがとう。
and with that we made our way out to the surface. The crumbling debris was a depressing sight to behold. The painstakingly crafted laboratory, along with the equipment therein, was in ruins. Deep fried fish? Yum. The tank holding Rosalie had shattered to pieces, strewn about Camille's feet. Rosalie's body lay on the floor, with closed eyes that would never open again. He hadn't touched her in so long, he only now noticed how cold she was. He lifted her cold body into his arms. Camille embraced her tightly as if to not let her go.
冷て当たり前か。ずっと俺がここに閉じ込めてたもんな。こんな悪い顔色じゃせっかくのドレスも似合わない。
He asked if she would forgive him for ruining their wedding day.
本当にごめんな。詫びはこれで勘弁してくれ。
He held her back up with his hand and lay a kiss on her cold lips. A kiss showing his vow of everlasting love, which he couldn't have done without Mathis unlocking his heart. Rosie didn't say a word, nor did she smile. Still, he was finally able to reunite with her. Time finally began to move again. The time between Camille and his beloved in the present day, after she had watched him for so long inside the clear water.
にしてもやっぱ腹の中身はスカスカか。そりゃそうだよな。ここで君と共に死んだ俺と君の子になるはずだった赤ん坊と、その細胞俺が開いて取っちゃったからな。
そうだカミーユ、もしも赤ちゃんが男の子だったら私つけたい名前があるの。
Oh.
あのね、神様からの贈り物って意味で。
Mathis. Right.
マティスっていう俺によく似たホムンクルスを作るための材料にするために。
So yeah, the whole I've never seen you as my brother thing is because Mathis was made from the DNA of his son.
何が兄さんだよ。大外れだドジマティス。なあロザリー、俺たちのもう一人の息子はさ、 ろくに子育てもしてないのに。愛する女の子に何度だって恋ができる。俺なんかよりずっと立派な男になったぞ。
Yeah, absolutely. The moon was shining brightly. We were at the secluded part of the shore sitting next to each other, feeling each other's warmth through our hands. Adolphe and Eve quickly came to the rescue just before the mansion collapsed. The two came searching for me, thinking that I was at the Claude mansion. Apparently, a certain man told Eve during his investigation I was there.
私が何者かって？そんなことを聞いている暇があったらとく早く向かいたまえ。
Anku.
彼女のことをよろしく頼むよ。
They said he also helped break open the locked mansion with a peculiar weapon. Then he suddenly vanished as though he was never there. From their description, I was quite certain that that man was the Watchman of Death, Anku. I should thank him next time I see him. It sounded like he was looking for me too. After our rescue, when Adolphe and Eve saw the extent of our injuries, they wanted us to go to the hospital immediately, but we only shook our heads. Camille and his laboratory were now buried under the rubble and debris, which meant Mathis would no longer be able to extend his life like before. For all I knew, the Mathis next to me would probably disappear and die within the next few hours. He told me he wanted to spend his final hours with me. Seeing his gentle smile, no one could tell him otherwise. Fuck off, Copilot. I don't care.
この数日でいろいろなことがあったね。
You're right. There were days I would never forget. The warm, loving times we spent together. Each new Mathis he became, the days were also nightmarish. But even those memories were precious to me now. After all, I loved every Mathis that appeared. Say, what kind of person are you now?
さあ、どうだろう。
I could hear the data inside Mathis's head screeching in their final moments.
最初の僕と近いけれど、少し違う気もします。自分でもよくわからない。なんだかふわふわとした不思議な気分かと。
The data continued to screech. His sleepy demeanor and the words that he spoke intermittently. Every word and action was a sign that his mind was slowly beginning to deteriorate. We knew this was going to happen and accepted it, wanting to spend those last moments together. I'm assuming he will, just after this.
小説完成しなかったよな。
Yes. It ended when things were just getting good.
うん。でも大丈夫。 もともと僕最初から書き直す予定だった。
I bit down on my lips so that I could hold back the tears from surfacing in my eyes. If I cried now, I knew I would break down sobbing. I wouldn't be able to hear his last words.
次は恋愛小説書きます。寂しがり屋の死神と人に作られたホムンクルスの男が恋をして結ばれて結婚式を挙げるまでのお話。
That would be wonderful. I'm sure plenty of people would love those characters. Are you sleepy?
うん。そろそろ限界みたいだねえセレス。僕はきっと兄さんが作り出したんじゃなくて、あなたと出会うために彼のもとに魂が。
He pulled me gently toward him. His skin felt so warm. I could tell his strength was slipping away.
それはこれからもきっと変わらない。だから
Light slowly began to fade from his eyes.
僕はまた君に恋するために生まれてくるよ約束ね。
Yes. I'll be waiting. I strained my voice so that it could reach Mathis as he fell asleep. Never forget that I'll be waiting for you, so we can write a story together again. He whispered a quiet thank you.
俺に勇気を与えてくれてありがとう。すべての私を愛してくれてありがとう。
We wouldn't say farewell. Instead, we would say this.
またいつか
Until we meet again. Yay! Isn't that happy, guys? Isn't that so happy? That's okay. I'm assuming we'll get an after credits scene as well, I think. I'm assuming Shien comes in and then fixes him after the fact. Yeah, I'm assuming we take him to we take what we know to Shien and Shien fixes him off screen, or we'll fix him in a. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I promise Olympia Soiree I think is nowhere near the sad. There might be sad endings, but I'll try and make sure I don't play as depressing as a game again. Maybe. I know. You're so mean. Oh, my baby. Yay! There we go. I thought so. A few months later,
盗んだ記憶データによる人工的な記憶の構築。妊婦から細胞を得て生成したホムンクルス。協力者がいたとはいえ、よく素人が独学でここまで発展させたものだ。
シアンさん、お疲れ様です。
Dahut, you piece of shit. Hi. Look at you, you fucking asshole. How are you, you dick?
うちの班の実験が終わったので、午後からはバリバリビシビシ共同研究と実験に参加できますよ。ってあれ？それってカミーユさんが起こした事件のデータです？
ああ、違法の研究設備も絡んでいるからな。俺の方に後処理が回ってきた。
An explosion occurred at the Claude mansion in Chidis. Sheehan wasn't involved in the incident, but he heard what happened. The only one presumed dead was the Claude family's butler, Jean. No, the person who died was the true heir of the Claude family, and the person behind the missing prostitutes. The deliverer, Camille Claude. It seemed he was somewhere under the rubble with his lover, but he hadn't been found yet.
まったく、一体どこの誰だ？俺が当の昔に廃棄した研究を解約して奴に吹き込んだのは。
Funny, I think you're in the room with him, Sheehan. His independent investigation revealed the identity of one of the supporters. Oh? So Sheehan already knows. His independent investigation revealed the identity of one of the supporters, but instead of arresting them, Sheehan decided to let the person run free until the time was ripe. So Sheehan's already aware that it's Dahut, and he's just letting him run free, because he hasn't done anything bad yet. But one remained elusive. Oh? There was no way that Camille could have achieved such great results with the help of just one person. Sheehan's hunch was...
研究所の中にネズミがいるな。
Oh, okay, no. He was talking about Capuchin. He's probably realized that Capuchin's also one of the scientific guys. And he's getting on to figuring out Dahut. Camille's goals and sentiments were of no interest to Cheyenne, but he was quite perturbed that someone had used his past work without his permission. To add, the camera he asked to have returned was still missing. He suspected this rat also supplied him with the camera. In any case, he had plans to comb through the institute until he found them. Sheen cracked his neck with disgust, thinking that he might have to resort to using Karun. Thinking Sheen's behavior was his usual lack of interest, Dahut promptly took the monitor away.
そういえばこれって神湯さんなりの食材だったんですかね。研究室が崩壊する直前、うちの研究所までわざわざ彼の記憶データと遺伝子のバックアップを送ってくるなんて。
Oh!
知らん。死者の思考なんて答えの出しようがないもの。考えるだけ時間の無駄だ。
Oh, he sent Mathis's genetic and memory data so that he could be relived.
もう干渉に浸らせてくれないんですから。それでシアンさんは彼の遺言っていうか懇願を読んでその通りに彼を保護してあげたんですか？まさか珍しい検体だからって怖い人体実験に利用していたり。
実験に使うのなら自分で作って消費する方が早い。
さらっと恐ろしいことを。まあホムンクルスって人間やリライバーよりか弱いだけの生物ですからね。あれ？っていうことは彼今頃。
特に使い道はないからな。リライバーとして作り直した後、放り出しておいた。
Oh? So he already relived Mathis.
はい？それじゃあどの記憶をベースにリライバーになったのか謎だらけじゃないですか。今頃途方に暮れてるか迷子になってますよ。警備兵を連れて探しに行ってあげないと。あと無事にリライバー化が終わったのならまず彼女に報告してあげてください。
Dahut puffed his cheeks out with the frustration as he fiddled with the system screen. And done. I loaded the crate of vegetables in front of one of the food stands. The owner was looking at me with anxiety, but regardless, I bowed and headed off to deliver the next bunch of vegetables. Not caring about how they look at me sure makes a difference. Still, at this rate, it's going to take me forever to earn enough money to become a reliver. Oh! Ceres has decided to become a reliver. It's not only money. I have to mature a bit before Mathis returns. It had been a few months since then. I was still working at the orphanage, but I had another job. I began to work here at the Marché, helping with deliveries and stocking inventory. The reason I was doing two jobs was simple. I wanted to make enough money to become a reliver. Back then, I didn't think I had the right to live longer since I was deaf, but if I accepted my death, I wouldn't have been able to live with Mathis, who was undergoing the process of becoming a reliver. With his controller, Camille, dead, he was unable to have new memories downloaded. What that meant was Mathis would die once the memory in his brain crashed. But just before the mansion collapsed, and just before Camille's death, Camille transferred the data required for Mathis to become a reliver, and also confessed to his crimes to the Institute. The moment they learned Mathis was actually a homunculus, which was a banned existence, Sheen appeared to take him back to the Institute. They quickly froze his body before his brain could corrupt further. From what I understood, they were currently reviewing his data so that he could become a reliver. And for me, upon hearing that report, I'd been doing all I could to be with Mathis one day so that we could spend our days in love. I decided to work to become a reliver. That said, I had only made that choice recently and hadn't really told anyone my idea. But this also meant I was going to break the contract with Anku, which would make me a normal human.
そうか。
Although by now, shouldn't his antibodies be fine?
君は一つの真実を暴いたのだし、十分に報酬を受け取る権利があると思ったのだが。
I'm so sorry, especially after everything you've done for me.
リライバーになれば、君が何より大切にしている彼への愛が消えてしまうのだよ。
That's all right. After all, I'm confident I'll be able to fall in love with him again.
そうか。それが姫君の願いなら、死の万人は付き従うのみ。
I'm so happy I can see you again, Anku.
だが、せめてささやかな贈り物ぐらいは受け取ってほしい。
Yes.
あでやかな赤が美しいだろう。実はこれは私の力作り出したものでね。
So it's probably not. Is this a permanent cure or just like have enough of them and then you'll be cured eventually? What?
というのは冗談で、ごくごく普通の歌詞だと思う。冥界から持ってきたものでもないので、どうか安心して食してくれ。
Thank you very much. Anku, if you didn't stop me from committing suicide that day, I would never have been able to meet Mathis. Thank you so very much. I'll never forget what you've done for me.
それはこちらのセリフだよ、姫君。
So I guess, yeah, he's just gonna keep giving her micro doses of antibodies in the form of candy until he can give her the full proper cure?
どうか君の行く道に少しでも多くの幸があらんことを。と、死の番人が願ったところで不吉なだけかな。
With the vegetable deliveries complete, I decided to head back to the orphanage, looking at the stores along the way. I really let Anku down. I remembered the look on his face back then, which made my heart ache. I couldn't choose a path where Mathis and I had to part ways. Even if Mathis returned without the love he felt for me. No, that wasn't all. Mathis's memory was made by combining memory data from multiple sources. So he was already worn beyond belief from repeated experiments. In other words, his backup data was already in a less desirable state. The prospect of downloading such data to his clone body was somewhat bleak. After all, the odds of his memory transferring properly were close to zero, meaning that he might remember me or he might not. There was even a chance his personality would be completely different, too. But I'm ready for anything. Even if the bond that connected us was lost. I was sure we would. A sudden gust of wind blew. Somewhere. In the midst of the crowd, I saw something beautiful and silver shining brilliantly under the sun. Oh, his marks on his shoulder. He grabbed my wrist as we crossed paths. The warmth flowing from my wrist was the only person in this world who dedicated his love to me. The weaver of our story of love. I gasped when I saw his face. He wore an urgent but confused expression. He shook his head, Probably because he thought I saw him as a stranger.
突然ごめんなさい。知らない男に手をつかまれるなんて怖がらせちゃいましたよね。
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's a reliver, but he doesn't remember.
けど僕あなたのことを見た瞬間、なぜか胸からいろんな感情が溢れ出して目をそらせなくなってしまったんです。とっても可愛いな。守ってあげたいな。今度こそ最後まで一緒にいたいなって。つまり一目惚れをしてしまいました。
Those memorable words marked the beginning of our new story. Seeing my eyes wet with tears, he blushed. But more than anything, he looked happy.
恋をたやすく忘れてしまうリライバーの身ではありますが、もし嫌でなければ、どうか僕と素敵な恋をしてくれませんか？
He had kept his promise. I felt like every Mathis I met before was telling me so with a smile. If so, there was only one answer. I gave him the brightest smile to make sure they all knew. Oh, look at him, my precious baby! Yes, gladly. I'll fall in love with you as many times as it takes. I'm so happy. Ah, yes.
なん
Salvation.
だか不思議です。ずっと前からあなたを探していたような気がして。僕はリライバーだから、これから先恋を忘れてしまうかもしれない。でも絶対に
Yeah.
何度でもあなたを好きになれるって確信があります。ずっと大好きです。
Right. Lucas time, let's go. And we support him. Skip. And now we skip. I know. There we go. Now we super skip to the next unread section. I would read through it all again until we get to the new text, but the Salvation ends are a lot longer than I thought they would be, so I think we're just going to go through and read the new stuff rather than read through it all. It'll be fine. We only need the happy endings. Oh. Here we are. Slash. I saw Lucas's blonde hair between Anku's split torso. I thrusted Eve's rapier through the gap with all my might. His immortal body acted as a cover to make my blow unavoidable. I could tell through the palm of my hand that the rapier pierced flesh. Sorry, I'm gonna open up my snacks. My rice cakes. Well, I'm hungry. Blood spewed from his neck. So yeah, from what I remember, Lucas has gone crazy and is killing everyone. Blood dripped from the sword hilt to my hand. I wasn't sure how many seconds had passed. After a moment of silence, I looked around. The Watchman of Death, who had been split in two, had disappeared. Anku. Did he leave on his own? Or was he returned to Hades after losing his body? I wasn't sure which, but... I'm sorry you had to deal with my selfishness. I'll repay you when I end up in Hades, I promise. I offered my prayer not to heaven but to hell. And? Lucas? I moved next to my beloved and crouched down to the floor to stay by his side. He struggled to breathe as he bled. Perhaps it was just instinct that made him press down on his wound, but I'd pierced an artery in his neck from which blood continued to flow in the form of a river of red. The sight brought me to one conclusion. He couldn't be saved. Ah. I knew this would happen. I knew there was no other way to stop him. Oh. But my feelings didn't match my resolve. Anger, sorrow, and despair rose from within. I slowly came to realize I had delivered the final blow to my most beloved. I bent my body forward and let out a wail when...
Saras...
I heard a gentle whisper. I quickly looked up to see him staring at me. Suddenly, his bleeding pale lips slowly began to move.
Ohayo
Oh, good morning, baby.
gozaimasu.
Really? Why are you asking it like it's a question? I did my best to wipe away my tears. But yes. Good morning, Lucas. I cut you here. Does it hurt? I wanted to tell him that I was the one who landed the critical blow. He responded.
Ah, so ka. 私はまた狂気に負けたのか。
Lucas let out a sigh of relief and said the words of hatred toward me. But this also meant he was remembering. Remembering what had happened until now. The tragedies he inflicted in the course of a single night.
誰も殺したくないと叫んだそばからこのありさまがすべての罪をリライバーに押し付け断罪人気取りとは本当に私は救いようがない。
His forced laughter made him cough out blood.
やはり私にはリライバーのことを悪魔と呼ぶ資格などなかった。私こそが人のふりをしているだけの化け物。
Yeah, you're not wrong. Thou shalt not kill. It's one of the main rules. Come on, Lucas. It's one of the main things. Thou shalt not kill. It's one of the first things you're taught. Although I forgive him. He was brainwashed. He was brainwashed. So it's not entirely his fault. He looked down on himself as he faced death. I grabbed his hand to stop his self-loathing. It was terribly cold. My hand began to shake as I already saw a future where he no longer existed. But I did my best to entwine his blood-covered fingers with mine. I hate myself for being so useless. If I really did have powers like death, I would have been able to stop you before you went mad. No, that was just my excuse. Yeah.
もう無理だ。これ以上は頑張れない。
Lucas actually sought death back then, but I stopped him and forced him to stay alive. As a result, I made him commit more sins. It was all my fault. No, actually, this is all Capuchin's fault, so let's put the blame where it deserves to be and kill Capuchin. Again, if he's not already dead. I'm sorry, Lucas. I'm so sorry I put you through much suffering.
違う。君は何も
I honestly can't remember. Wait.
ない。
I remember what the 10 Commandments are, but I don't think I can remember the order. Let me see. Let's see how much I remember from Christian camp. Obviously, number 1 is love God above all. Don't bow down to idols. 2 is something. 3 is love thy mother and father. 4 is 4 the Sabbath? 4 is remember the Sabbath. 5 is something. I'm pretty sure thou shalt not kill is 7. What's 6? 5 and 6. Is 5? No, 6. 8 is don't steal. 8 is don't steal. 9. 10. I'm trying to remember the pictographs that they used in Christian camp to teach kids what the 10 Commandments were. 8 is don't steal, because I remember them using the 8 as like a thief mask. 1, love God, don't bow down to idols. No, 1 is love God, God is number 1. 2 is don't bow down to idols. 3 is love thy parents. 4 is remember the Sabbath. 5 is something. 6 is something else. 7 is don't kill. 8 is don't steal. 9 and 10. I think I'm doing, for someone who is not like someone who is in my situation, I think I'm doing good at remembering what they are. I can't remember the others. I think I've got the first 5 down. I've got the first 4 down. God is number 1, don't bow down to idols. Love thy parents. Remember the Sabbath. I remember the Sabbath one because they used the 4 as a sail on a sailboat to show you relaxing. So yeah, remember the Sabbath as in the day of rest. 5. I can't remember what 5 and 6 are. 7 I think is don't kill. 8 is don't steal. So 5 and 6 and 9 and 10 are the only ones I feel like I can't remember well. That not knowing's gonna bother me. Oh. I think I did a good job. 4 out of the 10. You shall not covet! Yes. Yeah, you shall not covet. So I remembered most of them. That's okay. Of course. Yeah, so God is number 1. Don't bow down to idols. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. Keep the Sabbath. Honor your parents. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't be a false witness, which isn't also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure at least at some point in time I was also told that bearing false witness against your neighbor is just to not lie. Sometimes it's simplified to just don't lie, right? From what I believe. Because that's what I remember being told. It's not specifically against your neighbor, it's just don't lie in general, is what I remember being taught. But I guess that just depends on your denomination and interpretation, right? Yeah. I mean, I think I'm doing well as someone who used to be religious. I think my memory was good enough. It's often simplified that way, yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie. I always got confused as to what taking your Lord, the name in vain meant. I actually didn't know what that meant most times. I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. I mean, I've been told it means different things. Like, I've heard some people saying taking the Lord's name in vain is saying "oh my god" at all, or using the name as an expletive. But then I've also been told specifically it's about like cursing God specifically. That's what taking his name in vain is, but I'm guessing it's probably more like both. But yeah, I'm surprised I got the majority of them. He shook his head at my confession.
最初から私が愚かだったんだ。カプシーヌの洗脳など何の言い訳にもならない。たった一度差し伸べられた光に盲信し、独りよがりな信仰を貫いた結果がこれ。
Yeah, like I remember a pastor telling me that using God's name in vain is to like curse him, to be like, God, you've like to say things like, God, you've forsaken me, why are you punishing me? Like, God is about like saying things that like, yeah, I guess, yeah, disrespectful. Like, God, you've abandoned me, you've forsaken me. God, why are you so awful? Blah blah blah, stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's what. Yeah, it's being disrespectful. But I was told making a promise, and oh yeah. I guess it just goes to show that there's different interpretations that a lot of different people have. Yeah. Again, this is what I remember from when I was a child, so my memory could be off, since most of my religious experience was me as a child in like foster care and camps and stuff.
あげく私のような男のために
No, it's okay, it's okay. Go take care of your grandma if you need her,
君の優
please.
しい手を汚させてしまうなんて。
Don't say that. He squeezed his eyes shut in shame.
わからない。なぜ私はやっと見つけた小さな光をまた自ら手放してしまったんだ。
A single teardrop fell from his eye into the pool of blood on the floor.
もう疲れた。 何度希望を得てもすべてはこの手をすり抜けこぼれ落ちていってしまう。これ以上絶望に 抗いたくない。
I wanted to tell him to live, but somehow I had myself back from saying such a thing. No, that was something I shouldn't wish for. Showing a glimpse of hope to him right now was likely no different from torture. But there was one thing, just one thing I wasn't satisfied about as he slowly met his end. Lucas. I wouldn't tell him to do his best. I wouldn't tell him to stand up. I wouldn't tell him to live either. What I wanted to tell him was, I don't want you to die because of despair or because of someone else's evil. Lucas was shouldering sins beyond what could be forgiven. Still, if there's even a glimmer of hope left in your heart, why not make it true? Even if it's only a little. I'll do what I can to help. I wanted to cry, knowing that this would mark our farewell. Hearing my suggestion, Lucas opened his eyes for it. He then looked like he was about to cry.
君はなんて意地悪な教え子なのでしょう。そんな言葉を聞いてしまったら、私にもまだできることがあると勘違いしそうになるでは。
He gripped my hands and let out a weak smile.
最後にたった一度だけ私はあの子のために兄としてですが、それは死にかけの私一人では
I mean, we're in the Reliver Lab, just saying.
なれない。そしてその願いの果てに私はまた新たな罪を身勝手だと理解していますが、セレス君。
Yes, I'll be with you till the end. After all, I'm your loyal aide.
これ以上君に情けない姿を見せるわけにはいきませんね。
He moved his hands off his neck and stood up as the blood flowed from his wound like the sands of an hourglass. Upper Shell was a country possessed by death. Among its districts were Chilis and Cernaval, where the majority of Relivers lived. Districts that the killer Lucas Proust, otherwise known as Barreau, had painted in red. More than 100 fell victim to his blade. The loss was the most severe at the Institute, the lifeline of the country. Apart from one who had gone missing, the entire staff was killed, including she and Brofees, the leading expert in Reliver technology. The devices he created to manufacture relievers were also completely destroyed. With no hope of prolonging their lives, the people were overcome with despair. The outraged royal family took action. They proclaimed that Barreau, now a wanted man, would be found and punished dearly for his crimes. But to one man, the country's turmoil was expected. Oh, I want you to be dead so bad. Capuchin was overjoyed to hear through his transmitter that the damage Lucas dealt to the country. He smiled, knowing that Lucas had also destroyed all of the Institute's devices used to create relievers. He was sure that people were now shuddering with fear in their inescapable fate. It was then that his other motives surfaced.
この施設に残るリライバー装置の提供と私の知識をちらつかせれば保身しか頭にない王家のことだ。多少の犠牲には目をつぶってでも目の色を変えて私に全権力を預けるはず。国立研究所の新たな所長として堂々と人類強化の研究を続けることも夢ではない。
His warped smile was so wide it looked like each end would reach his ears. He noticed his expression reflecting on the pool of blood at his feet.
しまった。我ながらなんとはしたない笑みを。すまないね、ナディア。決して君のことを忘れたわけではないのだよ。君はいずれこの国を率いる偉大な科学者の花嫁として君臨するんだ。寿命を迎えのたれ死んだか、それとも発作が起きた隙を突かれ誰かに始末された。まあ今となってはどうでもいいことか。
Even if he was alive, the mind control still prevailed over his memories to kill all relievers aside from those associated with the society. He knew that Lucas wouldn't harm him as long as he was busy outside killing relievers. Now, no one could stop him. But that relief he felt quickly disappeared when he heard the warning siren go off.
なんだ?
Capuchin frowned at his happiness being interrupted by a sudden message from his transmitter.
教祖様、どうかお逃げください。我々ではこれ以上この男。
His followers screamed amid the chaos. He could immediately tell that the followers he assigned as guards were being taken down one by one. After the initial shock,
まさか。
he left Nadia behind and quickly headed outside to discover.
化け物。
His followers were on the floor moaning in pain. And he was bleeding profusely from the neck and mouth. Lucas Proust, Barreau, held his halberd, appearing with Ceres supporting him. He stood in front of the fake minister to deliver justice. Yes, kill him. Kill him, please. Murderers. We finally reached the headquarters of the Society of Exorcists without killing any of their followers. And now we are finally here to face the source of evil, Capuchin.
バカな。
Capuchin's eyes focused on Lucas's neck.
貴様、そんな傷を負いながらなぜ戦うことができる?
Fuck you, that's why.
決まっている。ナディアの兄としてあの子を、お前のいびつな愛か、その一心で 私は彼女と共に。
動脈が切れているんだぞ。普通の人間ならば即死の傷に。そんな精神論が通じるものか。
ならば私はお前の言っていた通り正真正銘。
Lucas and I took a step forward. Capucine moved a step back in fear. It's no use running, Capucine. There's no one here to save you. We also told the members of the Corps and the Royal Guard that you're the mastermind behind everything. There's no one on your side anymore.
たかが小娘が化け物を従えたからといい気になるなよ。
Capucine looked scared at first, but now he was a lot calmer, probably after seeing how Lucas was suffering.
少々驚かされたが、こいつが死にかけの体であることには変わりない。この程度なら私が用意した紙幣で十分対処可能だ。
Capucine raised his hand into the air. Suddenly, one of his vaults opened to release a number of shadows from inside. Oh. Lucas clones. They leapt into the air and landed with their long cloaks between us and Capucine. They're clones. They came out of the device, which meant they're relivers?
いいえ、厳密には違うのでしょう。
It wasn't our enemy who corrected me, but my former teacher.
リライバーとは記憶とクローンを構成する。それにしては自我や感情が
If so,
私と同じなのはあくまで遺伝子だけ。リュカ・
but
プルー
if we
スト
backed
の
up your memory data,
人格や自我は
isn't it possible we could just
彼ら
pop
に
you
は
in?
ナディアを作り変えた研究の応用で作られた文字通りの私の偽物なのでしょう。
今さら気づいたところで遅い。
Capucine snapped his fingers and the clones in front of him quickly positioned their halberds.
自我がない弊害で洗練さや判断力にはやや欠けるが、死にかけの貴様をほふるには十分だ。さあ、出来損ないの模造品たちよ。お前たちのオリジナルとその娘を気が済むまで切り刻んでやれ。
The clones quickly snapped into motion in compliance with Capucine's command.
自分と同じ身体能力の人形3体を相手に貴様は一体何秒持つかな。
Lucas moved forward to put distance between us.
ごめんなさい。
Before Capucine's laughter ended, the arcs were drawn in the air. The fakes all crumpled to the ground in pieces.
は？
Capucine was standing there with a stupor, trying to figure out what had happened. Lucas swung his halberd to remove the blood and then looked down at the clones dead at his feet. Lucas! I somehow ran to support him as more blood spewed from his mouth. My cry finally brought Capucine back to reality.
バカだ。
His confidence had disappeared. Capucine stumbled over his own feet as he dove towards the hidden door in the room.
早く鍵を。ふざけるな。あんな化け物に育つなんて私は聞いていないぞ。まさかここまで全て織り込み済みでリュカのことを私に教えたんじゃないだろうな。いや、そんな文句を言っている場合じゃない。逃げるぞナディア。奥の方にあの地下道へと続く脱出口が。
No matter how strong the door was, it meant nothing to the man fighting with the loss of his life. The locked door crumpled into pieces.
逃がさない。
I stepped over the debris as I supported Lucas through the portal. I was prepared for this, but the first thing that came to our eyes wasn't Capuchin cowering in fear, but it was Nadia, who silently stood next to Capuchin. She didn't even flinch despite seeing her brother near death.
ああ、そうだ。そうだった。こいつに君は殺せないんだったね。ナディア、どうか私を守っておくれ。
Capuchin took a few steps back to use his bride Nadia as a shield, but then I heard a sticky wet sound. I looked at his feet to see a small pool of blood. I didn't recall the floor being covered with much blood before. Lucas and I had looked closer with suspicion. We found a body lying face down on the floor in the middle of the blood. Huh? Isn't that? A rather oversized lab coat had absorbed the red colour. Oh, it was Nadia's newfound friend. A young man who went to the trouble of studying her disorder, who innocently told us of its discovery. Dahut?
なんだ、知り合いかね。
なぜ彼がここに。
それはこちらが聞きたいぐらいだ。
Oh, did he come?
数時間前、どこからか勝手にこの研究室に侵入してきたと思ったら、この姿のナディアを見た瞬間、
よくも僕の友達を。
Yeah, because Dahut genuinely did care for Nadia.
などとずうずうしいことを叫びながら私に襲いかかってきたのでね。背後からナディアに切り殺させたのだよ。
But we know Dahut has backups, so he somehow escaped from the institute. They made it to this lab after somehow finding out Nadia was held captive here.
人の花嫁に慣れ慣れしく近づくから、こんな末路を迎えることになるんだ。
Capuchin spat out words of spite as he cruelly stomped on Dahut's skull. Stop.
今すぐその足をどけろ。
His roar quickly stilled the air.
お前にも私にも今の言葉で私と同等の。
Dr. Capuchin's low growl was more than enough. The still air went heavy, filled with pure, unfettered malice. Following his emotions, Lucas pointed his halberd at his enemy as I continued to support him.
それは何のつもりだ。私を襲えばナディアが夫を守ろうと 自ら応戦するぞ。優しいお兄様たる貴様が愛する妹を傷つけられるわけが。おい、まさか貴様。
I took one step forward in unison with Lucas. She took one step forward to protect her groom.
私はお前のような外道を信じきり、この子にきっともうこの子の兄と名乗る資格すらならばせめてこの子の人間としての殺人鬼は殺人鬼なりにできることを果たしてみせる。
待ってくれ。ならば殺すべき相手は私ではない。
Capuchin was pleading for his life as he hid behind Nadia.
言っただろう。お前たち兄弟の情報を私に提供したのは例の支援者なんだ。だから殺すならば彼女くそ、どっちだ。
Capuchin scratched his head with frustration.
とにかく私はあくまでそいつにそそのかされた被
Oh,
害
shut up
者。
and die.
背後に誰がいようとお前自身の意志で実行した以上
Hell yes.
そんなことは
His words were probably also directed towards himself.
私が多くの命を笑いながら殺した最悪の殺人鬼ならお前は罪人は共に冥界に落ちるとしましょう。
Rose condemnation rang through the room. The teacher I was supporting with my shoulder gently smiled at me.
セレス、君にまた辛いものを見せることに本当に身勝手だと。
Yes. We made a promise. I'll bear your sins too. So please, don't do your best alone. We'll become sinful killers together, Lucas. Capuchin was shuddering with fear, but Lucas couldn't fight anymore. He depleted the last of his strength when he took down his clones. The only thing he could do now was use his weapon and me as his crutches to move forward. He could only move his near-dead body. His bride moved forward in unison. Tragedy after tragedy fell upon them. For the first time since their argument, the siblings finally met face to face once again. Her brother smiled. His younger sister stayed silent.
長い間あなたは寂しがり屋だと結果として
Their conversation sounded like they were still in their hospital room. I final chat between his brother and a younger sister began.
あなたと離れている間、
でも私だって兄様の心の支えにぐらいなりたいっていつでもお話を聞けるよ。痛い治療もでも兄様はたった一人の家族なのに。
あなたの言葉を私、恥ずかしいことにもう頑張るのがつらいと。ですが本当に自分が今苦しんでいることに同時にだから呆れられても構わないから。
He spoke his resolve in the past tense. It was because he knew very well that his wish could no longer be fulfilled. Nadia raised her giant claw into the air. She calmly looked down at her brother. A single swipe would easily crush the both of us together.
いいぞナディア。そのまま殺す。冥界に落ちるのはその男だけで
Dr. Capuchin took a step forward out of excitement. He inched forward in expectation of our coming demise when someone grabbed his foot. Capuchin was caught in an awkward position, making him fall to the floor. He ended up in front of Nadia, who had her claws raised high. Nadia's movement stopped temporarily as the groom she was supposed to protect leapt in front of her.
なんだ今のは。
He quickly turned around to look. He had faked his death. Nadia's friend was barely breathing as he lay on the floor. He mumbled his final words before his life finally faded away.
な、ディア、頑張れ。
タート君、私せめて少しでも長く兄様たちのそばにいるために。
え？
Her arm began to move again.
許さない。
The giant bride's shadow loomed above Capuchin. Nadia.
よく私の大事な家族を兄様。
まさか崩壊したはずの記憶が蘇ったのか。なぜこんな突然。
There was no use for him to try and escape.
落ち着いてくれナディア。そんな感触確かに少々リュカ君を
Kill him, Nadia, let's go!
よく考えてくれ。その姿となった君を愛せる私を殺したが最後君は愛を得る機会を。嫌だ。私はまだこの世のどこかにある。
His bride took action against her husband-to-be. Instead of love, a blade of hatred. Yes, kill him, Capuchin, be dead! Music to my ears. His dying scream continued for a moment. He was sliced deep by the same claws he gave to his bride. The mad scientist who sought the most beautiful genes met his abrupt end. The only ones left alive were me, Lucas, and Nadia, who was sitting on the floor after killing Capuchin. Nadia! Lucas and I rushed over to her. Nadia slowly raised her head for the first time, saw her brother in her current form. Lucas visibly shook, having lost all hope of ever hearing that word from her again.
Eh, 私の方こそあなたの気持ちを知らずに。
Nadia was unable to move now, but from what I could hear, I could tell she was slowly returning to her kind and gentle self again. It's all thanks to you for telling me to rely on your brother that day. I'm not afraid of him, in fact. I've grown to like him even more. Despite her words of joy, Nadia frowned a bit. Her selfish and gentle request expressed her hope for salvation, but to Lucas it was a new opportunity to feel despair. We wanted her to live, no matter her form. Lucas groaned, holding back his wish that she continue to cling to life after a few seconds of suffering. Lucas silently nodded. Even if we extended Nadia's life in her current form, all we'll wait would be despair. So he forced himself to recognize that fact. But Lucas's arms were too weak for him to swing his halberd. I understand. I helped Lucas to lift and position his halberd. It wasn't because of its weight that it was shaking. Lucas took a deep breath and cleared the last of his regrets from his heart. The time for farewell had arrived.
ナディア、もしも来世というものが次は温かな家族に。
嫌よ。来 来世も丈夫な体じゃなくて、私は何度生まれ変わっても兄様と姉様の妹がいい。ねえ、兄様、私頑張るから。
あなたは私の
Nadia, I'm grateful that you were able to meet. I'm proud to become friends with you.
姉様、兄様、大好き。
The blade of liberation I held with him, in a single blow, without suffering. It quietly pierced Nadia's chest. I wasn't sure how long it had been. The sun was probably up by now. Next to Nadia, who slept peacefully. I was now watching over Lucas, who would be following Nadia shortly. He must still be suffering and hurting inside, but his expression was strangely calm and serene. It was hard to imagine that he would be dead soon.
こんな愚かな男に
Yep.
最後まで付き合っていただき
Yep. We've just... Ooh.
ありがと
Switch.
うございます。
We've just mercy killed Nadia. Capuchin's dead. So we killed Capuchin. We've mercy killed Nadia. And now Lucas seems to be dying. Yeah, Salvation ending. Although, like, I guess, not gonna lie, the impact is slightly lessened by the fact that I know it's going to be okay. Because there's a fan disc. There's a sequel to this where we continue on from the Salvation end, so I know it's going to be okay. So the impact's a little bit lessened, because I'm like, I know it's sad now, but it'll be okay eventually.
ですが
Like, my current theory is we take one of his clones and put his memories into
いい
it.
のでしょうか。こんな最低
But
最
yeah,
悪
don't be,
の
like, sorry that it took too long.
殺
Family's gotta
人
come
鬼
first.
が愛しい人のぬくもりに包まれたまま
Just a bit.
死ぬことが
I mean, okay, I'm not
で
gonna lie.
き
I
るだなん
am
て
also, I think, a little bit burnt out of this game. I've been streaming it for, what, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for 4 days in a row. So I feel like I am a little bit burnt out on it as well. So I think... I think we'll finish Lucas's Salvation end. Then I might take a break for a couple days before coming back to finish Eve's and Shien's. I quietly stroked Lucas's cheek. I see what you mean. After all, you're a bad man, Lucas. I doubt those you killed or their families or friends will ever forgive you. But beyond that, I think you just had a run of bad luck. Lucas smiled weakly.
そうですね。もしももっと早く愛おしくも 穏やかな何かが変わっていたのでしょうか。私は君を天使などではなく狂い切る前に頑張るのがつらいとナディアを共に助けてくれと声を上げられたかもしれない。どうして君との運命を手繰り寄せることができかいならいくらでもあったはず。それだけが悔しくて。
The tears he held back all this time finally fell from his eyes. Me too. I raised my voice as his eyelids began to lower. I wanted to change your fate too. I didn't want this to happen. I wanted to be with Nadia so that we could send off the person we loved with smiles. Tears fell from my eyes, blending with Lucas before disappearing into the pool of blood. The more I spoke, the more I regretted. Our hearts and minds finally joined for only a moment, but that wasn't enough. I wanted him to love me more. I wanted to love him more. I wanted him to be with me forever. Words of love filled my mind.
その言葉だけで十分です、セレス。私も君を愛してる。どうかこんな最低な男の愛など命の尊さを知る他の優しい誰かと幸せになって。
A small, small wish. I nodded, but as the light faded from his eyes, I was no longer sure he could see me. Even so, Lucas gently rubbed his cheek against my lap and...
本当に私にはもったいない。
He smiled with pure happiness. With the last teardrop, he finally went to sleep. I took a deep breath. I caressed his cheek, but there was no response. You have done well. You were so strong, and you did your best until the very end. But this time, you don't have to do your best anymore. Please rest in peace. Good night, Lucas. Sweet dreams. Yay! I wonder how he's gonna come back. Oh, I can skip the credits. Nice.
あの事件の顛末を教えろ。 新聞記者取材あれを大衆向けの娯楽に
So
する
Sheehan
ため
does survive.
この研究所で唯一生き残った俺を訪ねに来たわけか。
Yeah, his bits got a lot of people killed. That's true.
だが残念だったな。俺は巻き込まれはしたが当事者ではない。話すことなどないぞ。リライバーとして蘇った理由を教えてほしいだと。
Oh, thanks for linking the game in the Discord. I'll check it out after.
そんなもの予備のバックアップを取っておいたからに決まってるだろう。命を狙われるのはあれが初めてではないからな。
Yeah, that makes sense.
とはいえあんな殺人鬼がまた生まれてきたらたまらん。遺伝子疾患がもたらす人体の変化にも多少興味が湧いたことだし、死神の呪いを解き人並みの寿命を得た後、そちらを研究するのも悪くはないな。
So Sheehan gets pointed in the right direction of curing the curse. Oh, Anku POV. Okay. Interesting. How many years? Oh, how many years? How many years had passed since the tragedy that swept the tiny country of Virche? It had been a while since I last kept count. The Red Town had been restored, and the lost lives had been replaced with new ones. It was peaceful now that it was hard. It was so peaceful now that it was hard to believe such a tragedy had actually happened. The reviver manufacturing devices were destroyed, but she and Mathis, who cleverly returned to life, put his knowledge and technology to good use. Within 10 or so years, the devices were repaired, and he doubled his research staff. But this Lycos field, it hadn't changed, and was still detested and despised by the people. Among the flowers of misfortune was a shadow.
今年もまたこの日を迎えたか。
A lone, dusty grave among the black flowers. As the watchman of death, I swept the dust off the gravestone with my hand. Etched upon the gravestone were the words, "Here lies the executioner Barreau and his beloved partner." A single sentence adjourned the stone.
やあ、1年ぶりだね。
Oh yeah, so Ceres would have died of the curse. And yeah, she was buried next to him. I paid my respects to the lovers beneath the stone. That night, the nightmarish murders committed by Lucas Proust, also known as Barreau. His legacy has gone down in history as the worst incident of the country's history. The citizens who survived the incident, their friends and relatives. Some among them pitied Lucas, but the others held a grudge until the very end. But the one noted as the mastermind behind the tragedy was the anti-reliever minister of the Society of Exorcists, Capuchin. Further investigations were held, and the people discovered his horrifying research being conducted deep under the hospital. It became known that he used Barreau to do his bidding, assassinating the relievers he marked for death. That other incident where the institute was attacked so that Sheehan Brofiz's rights to his technology would become available. Capuchin had been named as the orchestrator. In the end, he left his name in the history books as the worst criminal and was still known as such to this day.
それに比べれば名が残されていないだけまだマシな方か。 あのシアンプロフィワーズに最低限の名誉を守られたと知ったら、君は何というかな。リュカ・プルースト。
Yeah, so everyone knows that Barreau was a super killer, but no one really knows that Lucas Proust was Barreau. I teased him bitterly, still resentful that he sliced me to pieces before my death. I didn't feel better as there was no response. That day, that moment when everything ended.
セレスを殺した時の感触が未だに手に残っている。
That night, after Ceres saw Lucas take his last breath, and after she gave him a kiss, she took a shard of glass that was next to her and pointed it to her neck.
そんなもので書き切ったところで無駄に苦しむだけだよ、姫君。死ぬのならこれを使うといい。
After my body grafted together from taking a blow as a shield, I awoke again. Unable to stand by and watch her, I tossed her the dagger I once took from her.
どうだい？その件ならば少しはマシだと思うのだが。
You're not going to stop me.
リュカ・プルーストを殺してでも止めると、そう聞いた時から予想と覚悟はしていた。あの時のように止めてほしいかい？
No, I can't leave Lucas alone.
そうか。ならばその旅立ち、私が背を押そう。君が首を裂いた瞬間、苦しまぬように私がとどめを刺す。
Thank you very much for everything. But now that I think about it, I know I gave you more work instead of reducing your load. I'm sorry I wasn't much of help.
何？構わないさ。また新たな契約者を探せばいい話だからね。
Ceres pointed the dagger at her neck. I moved behind her and raised the rapier that she borrowed from Eve. I'll see you in Hades. We've caused more than enough trouble, so please judge me and Lucas to the fullest extent.
さばいている最中にのろけられたらたまったものじゃない。それに私は地上での生活を存外気に入ってしまってね。罰はほどほどに受けて、彼とその妹と一緒にまた地上に上がってきておくれ。
I will. Goodbye. She felt no despair. Only the hope of meeting him again, and thus her life ended. Finally, I handed over the 2 bodies to Eve, and the others came to the scene. I asked them to bury their bodies together here, so that none would defile their graves. But what meaning was there in doing so? It didn't change the fact that they were swayed by evil, leading them to choose death.
所詮俺は何も救えなかった半端者だ。
As I turned my back to leave the grave, out of nowhere, I noticed a small young girl come running in my direction. It was very unusual to see someone actually step into the field of lycrases. She ran past me and headed to the grave. She placed a single flower on the gravestone. She clasped her hands in prayer. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. She placed a flower on the grave of that detested killer. Her very presence felt extremely odd. Unable to hold back my curiosity, I asked her why.
お墓ね。 いつも汚れててかわいそうだからきれいにしてあげたくて。それに
それに
よしよしって撫でてあげたかったの。
それはどうして？
ここで寝てる人がね、何をしたか私も知ってる。でもたくさんの人を殺すって苦しくて辛くて誰もやりたくないことなんでしょ。だからなんでそんなことをしたのかは私にはわからないけれど、殺人鬼さん、みんなが嫌がること頑張ったんだなって。
That's a really, really weird line of thinking, little girl. But okay. With that, the young girl gently patted the gravestone with her small hand.
君は
おーい、いつまでそんな場所にいるんだよ。またお母さんに怒られるぞ。
Oh, did they actually reincarnate, maybe? Yeah.
今行く。置いてかないで、お兄ちゃん。バイバイ、お兄さん。お話聞いてくれてありがとう。
Is it actually Nadia and Lucas reincarnated? I looked on as the young girl dashed through the field full of spirit. I let out a weak chuckle and then tapped on the gravestone with my finger.
やれやれ。冥界で本当にのろけているのかもしれないが、いくら私が不死とはいえ、ただ待つだけというのは退屈なのだよ。だから折を見て早く生まれ変わってきてくれ。その暁にはこの死の番人アンクーが君たちが今度こそ幸福となる人生を見届けてみせようじゃないか。
数えきれない罪を犯した私がこんなに幸せで
So yeah, I guess the hope for that ending, the salvation, is
人々か
the
ら
idea of
憎まれ
Shien is going to work hard to actually cure the curse this
それでも
time.
穏やか
And
な
then
気
by
持
the
ちでい
time
られ
that
るの
that's
は
cured, they'll
君が追いかけ
reincarnate
てき
and
て
be
くれたか
reborn
ら
again.
なのでしょうね。救ってくれて
So yeah,
ありがとう。
Nadia seems to already have been reborn as someone else's sister. Right, oh, I don't know. Do I want to go and do Shien's now? We've been going for 3 hours. I think I might have to split it. I think we might have to end it here. Yeah, it seems a bit of a stretch for Salvation Ends, definitely. And I'm not entirely sure how going off into this fan disc is going to work, but hey, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I think I'm going to split it. I think I'm going to take tomorrow off as a rest day from streaming, because I've been streaming 4 days in a row now. I'm going to take a break tomorrow, and then we'll probably come back Friday for you, with the other 2 Salvation Ends. And then, yeah, we'll be free to move on. Yeah. So yeah, I think tomorrow's gonna be a rest day for me. Personally. And then yeah, I'll come back Friday. For the other 2. And the other 2 Salvation Ends, and then yeah, we're free to move on. We still have Suikoden to go through, but we've got Suikoden, and then we could start Olympia Soiree. I'm not sure if there's another game I'll start playing. I think I'm gonna just focus on Suikoden and Olympia. Focus on those two games. It's much more easier for me to balance two games, I think. But yeah, I think that's the plan for now. So, thank you very much for popping in to hang out today. Yeah, pineapple juice is not bad. Like, I don't mind pineapple juice. I just don't like eating actual pineapple. The texture makes me go bleh. I don't like the texture. But yeah. I think I'm going to have a nap. I think I'm going to have a nap. So, until Friday, I hope you stay electrifying. Yeah. Good night, cousin. Have a good dinner, because you'll probably be off to dinner soon, right? I shall have a nap. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for coming to my stream. Thank you for always being here, honestly. It means a lot. So, stay electrifying. And I'll zap you later. Bye. Oh, I need to turn my BGM on first. Boy.